Welcome to Unicorn Recaps. This is The Rings of Power Season 1. Welcome back to Middle-earth for the Lord of the Rings prequel. 1,000 years ago, the elves resided in their paradise known as Valinor. But one day, the light of their trees started dying because the Dark Lord Morgoth started Dark Lording. So the elves had to leave their homeland of Valinor and sail to Middle-earth to fight him. It was an epic war, but ultimately they defeated Morgoth at a great cost. Our main character is the elf Galadriel, who's still alive in Lord of the Rings. Because remember, elves are immortal, unless they're killed like Galadriel's brother was by Morgoth's top general Sauron, so she swears to get revenge. And that's where this story picks up with Galadriel out hunting for Sauron. In Lord of the Rings, Galadriel is a calm and peaceful character, but in her youth, she was an epic warrior. She tracks Sauron to a fortress where he is trying to forge something, but apart from his strange pitchfork logo, the trail runs cold. Before she can dig deeper, a snow troll smashes into the scene, throwing elves around like they're made of paper. Galadriel, though, completely unfazed. She takes on the beast head-to-head, dodging its attacks, and in a move straight out of a legend, takes it down single-handedly. She goes home to Elf City where her best friend is Elrond. Yeah, he's a youngster here too. Galadriel wishes to continue hunting Sauron, but the Elf King insists that Sauron is gone and the war is over. He announces the disbanding of the military, so Galadriel is forced into retirement and shipped back to their paradise continent, Valinor. But at the last minute, she says, no thanks. She jumps off the boat. She knows Sauron is still out there. And indeed, evil is secretly rising in the peaceful Southlands. The humans here sided with Morgoth back in the war, so the elves are still keeping a close eye on them. This is the responsibility of Arondir. Orders coming in. The evil is gone, and the army has disbanded. This is unfortunate because he has developed a flirtation with a human named Bronwyn. Fortunately, he gets an excuse to stick around when a cow falls ill. During this time, he learns that the neighboring town has been destroyed and is subsequently captured by orcs. They have already burrowed tunnels beneath the village in a covert orc ambush. Luckily, Bronwyn manages to take one out, prompting the Southlanders to evacuate. Meanwhile, Elrond has been recruited for a special mission by the master elvensmith, Celebrimbor. He wants to build a special new forge, but the elves can't do it alone. They need help from the dwarves, so Elrond goes to the dwarven city of Khazad Dûn, currently in its golden age. Elrond is old friends with the dwarven prince here, Durin, but Durin's mad at him because he hasn't contacted him in 40 years. So the best bros have to work it out by smashing some rocks together. Then he brings him home to meet his new wife, who is super nice, and they reconcile. The dwarves agree to help. We are also following the Harfoots this season. They are delightful little people who are peaceful and happy, clearly the ancestors of hobbits. Here we follow a young mischievous Harfoot named Nori, who likes going on adventures with her best friend, Poppy. One night a meteor crashes nearby, but it's no meteoroid. It's a naked man. Who is this guy? Is it Sauron? Well, he has some magic powers. He's kind of a man-baby at the moment, and doesn't know how to talk or be human. So Nori befriends him and tries to help him out, and I'm pretty sure this dude's Gandalf. Galadriel is starting to think she has made a huge mistake while out in the middle of the ocean. Luckily, she finds a random raft of humans, one of whom is this guy, Halbrand. But almost immediately, a sea monster attacks and kills the rest of them, so she and Halbrand get some alone time, and they do the thing where they don't get along at first. After surviving a massive storm, a real boat picks them up and transports them to the legendary island kingdom of Numenor. Their ancestors sided with the elves against Morgoth in the war, so they were granted this beautiful island, but right now the political climate is anti-elf. So Galadriel and the Queen don't get along. The sea captain who found her, Elendil, has placed her under house arrest and is watching over her. We are introduced to the captain's son, Isildur, a brash young man who wants to drop out of boat college to go adventuring in Middle-earth. But his father's like, son, you can't drop out of boat college to be an adventurer. Ironically, though, he has no problem with his daughter going to art school. Anyway, Galadriel's house arrest includes the library, where she discovers she's been holding Sauron's symbol sideways. It's not a pitchfork, it's a map of the Southlands. And this is an interesting coincidence because her new friend Halbrand has this pouch with a symbol on it that is the royal symbol of the Southlands. Yes, he's doing the thing where he's the long-lost king, but he doesn't want it because his ancestors sided with the bad guys. In the Southlands, the orcs have taken Arondir prisoner, but he stages a prison break and he's got those cool elf super moves. But in the end, he's caught again and brought before the orc leader. That's definitely Sauron, but he claims not to be Sauron. He's like, I'm a totally different guy. My name's Aada. Meanwhile, the humans have evacuated to the elf tower, but they're running out of food. So Bronwyn's son goes back to the village to find some, but he also finds a super evil-looking sword. Meanwhile, Ada lets the elf guy go to bring a message, surrender or die. Bronwyn steps up to be a leader. The townspeople want to fight, but the cowardly bartender insists on surrendering. He goes to the orcs and says, "Hey, we pledge our allegiance to you, Lord Sauron."
I pledge my undying service to you,
Sauron.
Ada responds, "Look, I'm telling you, I'm not Sauron." Back in Elfland, the construction project's going great with the newfound cooperation between dwarves and elves, but Elrond suspects both sides are hiding something. He asks his friend Durin, who's like, "Okay, but you gotta promise not to tell because we found this new metal that is like, super cool. We call it mithril. The only problem is it's super dangerous to mine." It turns out that the elves have known all about mithril all along. That's the real reason they sent Elrond in the first place. You see, back in the Age of Legends, a brave warrior fought a Balrog, and during that battle, the power of the gods infused a tree. This energy then seeped down into the mountains, creating mithril. However, for reasons that are still unknown, the elves are now losing their immortality. Their only hope is that the mithril can reinvigorate it. That's what the Superforge is for. They want to make a bunch of mithril for like all the elves to wear. So Elrond tells Durin, "Hey, we need your help." And it's like, "Hey bro, I got you." But it's not Durin they need to convince. It's Durin's father, the King Durin Sr. King Durin believes that mining mithril is too dangerous. He refuses to risk the lives of the dwarves to help the elves, whom he views as unfairly immortal. However, Durin is determined not to let his best friend die, so he and Elrond venture down to mine the mithril themselves. They succeed and discover a mother lode of mithril deep in the mountain. Just then, Durin's father catches them in the act and is furious. He banishes Elrond and strips Durin of his princely collar. King Durin decides to shut down the mithril mining, deeming it too hazardous. Ironically, he is correct in his concerns, as delving into the depths could awaken an ancient evil, the Balrog. Now back to the Harfoots. They're getting ready for their big migration, but Nori's dad breaks his ankle, and normally, Harfoots all stick together. But on the migration, it's the pirate's code. If you fall behind, you're left behind. But luckily, Nori's new friend, Hobo Gandalf, is here to help him push their cart, and these two bond and have great times. She teaches him how to speak words, and he's a real helpful guy. Not just for pushing carts, he uses his magic to protect them from wolves, but sometimes he can't control his powers. He almost accidentally hurts Nori. There is another danger approaching behind them, as this peculiar group of individuals is tracking our spaceman. Now back to Galadriel, who wants Numenor's help to go save the Southlands from Sauron. But the queen here is like, "Sorry, I can't help you." She shows Galadriel the palantir she has. This one depicts a vision of a future where Galadriel's arrival leads to the destruction of Numenor, which is swallowed by the sea. So yeah, you see, it's not personal, but you gotta get out of here. But just then their magic tree starts shedding leaves, which is not a good sign. So now Queen Muriel's like, "Change of plans, Numenor. We're helping Galadriel sail off to war." But the Make Numenor Great Again movement is not happy about this, and their leader is this chancellor, J.R.R. Pharazôn, and he's a really good politician. He manages to calm this crowd and get them on board with the war, but also somehow make it about voting for me. And this guy has an absolutely glorious beard hair combo, something that his son Kevin does not. He's been flirting with Isildur's sister and generally seems like a nice guy, but he reveals he's kind of a douche. Like, "Hey dad, we hate elves. Why do you support this war?" It's like, first off, Kevin, get a haircut. And secondly, if we sail the war and save the Southlands, we can rule the Southlands, which will be England, Middle-earth's America. It'll be awesome. Galadriel, clad in shiny armor, is sailing with Numenor to save the Southlands. And not a moment too soon because Adar and the Orcs are marching on the village. The elf guy sets a Home Alone trap for him at the tower. Yeah, take that. But there's always more orcs. Now they're fighting at the village. A battle between peasants and orcs. In the end, the peasants win until they realize these orcs they fought were the people that defected. Yeah, he sent them first. Then Adar rolls up with the full orc army. Now he really wants the shadow sword, and to save his mom, the kid gives it up. But wait, now who's this coming? Yes, the Numenor cavalry riding in. Nothing like a cavalry charge to save the day. And Isildur, by the way, is here too. He gets his wish to fight in the battle and have a grand adventure. Galadriel pulls off a sick move where she dodges an arrow outside of the horse. This other guy tries to copy her, but he doesn't quite have that elven core strength. So Adar is trying to escape with the sword, but Halbrand shows he's got the abs strength to get down there and trips the horse. And now Galadriel's interrogating him like, "So come on, you're Sauron, right?" But he's like, "No, I'm telling you, I'm a different person." Sauron abandoned us to go off blacksmithing, so it's up to me to try to give our people a home. He explains that the orcs used to be elves that were corrupted by dark powers. I'm the first one of those, and that's why I kind of look like an elf still. But I really am an orc. And it's an interesting moral flip here as he's like, look, I just want a homeland for my people. We orcs have as much right to live as anyone else. And Galadriel's the one who's like, nah, orcs are pure evil and ugly. I'm going to genocide you all. Anyway, for now, the Southlands are saved. And good news, we found your long-lost king, and these peasants haven't invented democracy yet. So they're like, oh, this is amazing. All hail King Halbrand. But now what's the deal with this shadow sword? Well, it turns out it's a switcheroo, and he gives the real sword to the bartender guy who sticks it in the thing. It turns out it's the key that opens the dam and releases the river. And all these tunnels the orcs were digging were not just to hide. Turns out they all lead to the mountain, a mountain that's a volcano. And now with the water added, boom. And it's not a small eruption with a little bit of lava. It's a massive wall of smoke and death. This was Addar's master plan to create a land of permanent shadows perfect for the orcs. And in case you haven't realized it yet, the Southlands are Mordor. Galadriel survives because she's got super elf powers, and Doofus Kid survives too because he's got super plot powers. His mom survives too, along with his new elven stepdad. The queen survives too, although she is blind now, but it's Isildur who was down in a burning building when it collapsed on him. Since this is a prequel, we know Isildur survives. But his father, Elendil, is devastated, so Numenor's got to retreat for now. But the queen vows to come back with an even bigger army, and Galadriel's like, nice, I'll get the elves on board too. And so as the important people go off to do important things, the Southland villagers are going to rebuild, I guess, slightly north of the Southlands. Now, the Harfoots are approaching their rest stop, the beautiful Apple Grove. But unfortunately, it's close to the Southlands torched by the volcano. Maybe Gandalf tries to magically save some trees, but all he manages to do is almost kill some Harfoots. So it's finally like, hey man, thanks, and I'm sorry, but maybe you are too dangerous to keep around. But the next day, turns out his magic worked. The apples are saved. Yeah, I bet you feel bad for sending him off now. But now Eminem has caught up to him and it's like, wait, who are you? Are you a friend or foe? They don't say anything, but they light all the apple carts on fire. Oh, they foe. For the Harfoots, this is an extinction level event. But Nori's dad gives a speech about sticking together, which makes Nori realize I gotta go save Gandalf because indeed the real Slim Shady has caught up to him, but they're not here to fight him, they're here to serve him. They think he is Sauron. They're going to take him to a special place where you can see this constellation and he'll get his memories and his powers back. But his Harfoot friends are here to rescue him. Unfortunately, they're no match for fireballs. Nori's like, hey man, we need your help. But he's feeling bad because now he thinks he's evil, and it's like, dude, good and evil aren't something you're born with. You can choose to be whoever you want. And so he chooses good, stands up for his Harfoot friends. These guys are like, oh, it's not Sauron, he's the other one. Yeah, bro, I told you I'm Gandalf. Boom, banish. And so for the Harfoots, the day is saved, except for the old village elder guy, who dies. Now back to the elves, where Galadriel and Elrond fill each other in, while Halbrand hangs out at their cool new forge. Turns out he is something of a smith himself. He's like, wow, what's this cool metal? But it's like, hey, don't touch that. It's expensive and it's the only mithril we have. It's like, hey, I know you're the master smith Celebrimbor, but I mean, I just had the idea, what if you mixed it with some other metals to, you know, spread it out? And Celebrimbor is super embarrassed. He didn't think of that, so they have a new plan. With this much mithril, they can make one crown. If the Elven King wears it, it can maybe radiate light to all the elves, keeping them immortal. But as Celebrimbor explains what they're trying to do, it sounds exactly like what Addar told her Sauron was trying to do, and now she's looking at her friend Halbrand very suspiciously, suspecting him to be the Dark Lord. She discovers proof that the line of Southland kings has officially ended. It raises the question, who are you? He then goes full Breaking Bad, saying, say my name.
Say my name.
Dark Lord Sauron?
You're goddamn right.
She tries to kill him, but he traps her in a raft dream where he's like, look, I'm not a bad guy. If you rewatch the season, I never lied to you. My story is the same as Halbrand's. I used to serve Morgoth, but now I'm free to be better. He plans to make 2 magic crowns and save Middle-earth with him and Galadriel ruling together. He's like, I won't be a Dark Lord if you're by my side, the Lady of Light. But she's not having it. She's like, look, clearly you are super evil. And he's like, yeah, maybe I am. So he disappears, but Galadriel decides not to tell her friends it's Sauron who's been helping him because the elves still need this mithril. Now she has a new idea. 1 crown is bad because it could corrupt that person, and 2 is bad because it could corrupt them in the war. We need 3 super elves that can find balance. But we don't have enough mithril for 3 crowns. We need something smaller. And so, the forging of the 3 elven rings has begun. As Season 1 comes to an end, the Harfoots are going to finish their migration, except for Nori, who's going on an adventure. She's going to be the sidekick for her new wizard friend, and even though they never say Gandalf yet, he starts talking exactly like him. It's obviously Gandalf. The Numenorians make it back to find out her father, the king, has finally died. And if House of the Dragon has taught us anything, the death of a king is a good excuse for counselors to start scheming. Also, Isildur's sister happened to be with the king in his final moments where he was lucid, and was like, "You gotta read the prophecy ball." So now she knows that, and the forging of rings is complete. We've got the 3 elven rings of power. But with Galadriel acting weird, Elrond did some snooping and found out Sauron was helping him, but he also doesn't say anything. He concludes that everything will be fine as long as Sauron doesn't secretly forge a master ring to rule them all, which is, of course, exactly what he's going to do. And that's where The Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power Season 1 comes to an end. If you liked this recap, hit that subscribe button for more of the best recaps of movies and TV shows.